But we're getting onto Gili Island for the second round of this 5-map series. And to find out who will be the final teams going into the grand finals of the Southeast Asian Regional Clash. It's been an 8-week-long tournament. And finally, we're getting into the best of 12 grand final that takes place over 2 days next weekend.
Yeah, and that we can actually say for sure is a best of 12 because it will be whoever wins the most points at the end of those 12 rounds. And over 2 days, it's a long final. It'll test a lot of endurance of a lot of the players. We'll see how it goes. We actually have a decent bit of clustering. There's some split as some of the teams move down towards the south side of the map. But a decent number of them actually kind of between Massout Factory and Echo Valley.
I know you want to go tally those points, so go ahead and tally those points, and I can take people through this early game nice and easy.
You go right on ahead, Fish. You take the wheel for a few minutes.
Welcome to the Fisherman Show podcast, where we talk about all things aquatic animals.
I regret this decision immediately.
We're taking a look at map 2 here. It's a fairly even spread, as Southeast Asia tends to do. Most teams in Southeast Asia, they have their dedicated looting area. So it's no different here. Most teams will be going towards their dedicated looting area. You'll see a couple of small skirmishes if they run into the same compound or two, like we just saw a couple of people being executed. This is a fun circle, though. Most of the teams are outside the zone for this one. So we only have a few of the teams that went over towards the observatory or the northern side of the map. Plane path didn't really favor that area, although it is some of the Thai teams' lucrative looting area. And it is, a lot of it is going to be over water.
I think we found a new vocal warm-up. Lucrative looting.
Lucrative looting, yes. So it's over a decent area. Nobody is there at the moment as well. So teams are going to have to make their way through. Could lead to some early action, which we are getting here. AL get into an early fight. Typical AL getting into an early fight. It's almost like the team that got into an early fight last game is getting into an early fight this game again. That's going to get taken down. They do take one player with them. So AROV do lose a member for this skirmish. And AL just being an absolute nuisance once again. Fortunately for AL, every split they just seem to have the exact same story, which is they come in as one of the strongest teams in Indonesia. I mean, think about it. They even rivaled Bigatron when they were qualifying in the last split, who were a premier esports organization in the Philippines. They come into every single split, they get into the main group stage and kind of falter slightly. So hopefully we can see more from AL in the future. They never go down without a fight, which is great to see. And they were very strong during the first split of the regional clash. They were very good during the prior mini tournaments of the past year, Rules of Survival. So it's not like this team hasn't existed. They've been okay. Just they need to step up their game slightly in order to compete with some of the big teams that are here. Always falling relatively early. You've got Small Boy here just checking the houses, looking for the final players around Echo Valley. They've got a long way to go. Echo Valley very far south and very far southwest at that, with a play zone being in the top right-hand corner of the map, you know, where the observatory is. Difficult for these teams to get up there, and we'll see how they go. Just call me on your screens. They're looking to try and take a few compounds here. Another one of the Indonesian teams that is trying to fight for one of the spots. Unfortunately for Indonesia, the way their points are currently stacked don't favor them very well. It's going to be quite difficult for even the best teams in Indonesia to actually qualify today. We do have two teams from Southeast Asia General that have a pretty good shot, which is Fate as well as AROV. AROV first place in the last match, and that's them on your screen right now.
All right, Fish. I'm going to tab my way back into the conversation because I've managed to update our scoreboards as Baby Borneo gets dropped down by Small Boy. Another point scored from AROV. Looking at the way things have actually changed since last round, currently we have Fate sitting in that 15th place spot. They, of course, did overtake Gao Team, but as they died extremely early, they did not leapfrog them by very much. It's actually only 5 points ahead of Gao Team. The other teams that shored up a lot of their leads at the moment were, of course, number 1, who are in spitting distance of Fire Rose, who, remember, Vietnamese team have already played all of their matches, so will not have a chance to really fire back. They should break into the top 10 the way they're playing right now. But, of course, we have Ezio Gaming are also not far behind there, too. And then the teams that still really need to work on it a little bit are Pirate Team and Pirate King, but both of them are actually close to parity because Pirate King was actually further down on Pirate Team before that last round. And then finally, when you look at it, teams like WAFFF and Baby Junior actually really fell far behind in that round. It didn't really improve their pole position, where Nara actually jumped at least one spot up over War of Elite and picked themselves up 205 points, so they're at 2,500. You want to try to break into that 3,000 plus range.
Okay.
So Nara still has a long way to go, but if they can med strat like that and still perform, they might be able to do it.
I think they will. I think Nara are a decent enough team to be able to do just that. So let's see how far they get. They're one of the teams that can qualify into the next round, so we've got our eye out for them.
Yeah. You mentioned Will Clubs being a possibility to fall out of the tournament, by the way. They're currently in 12th place with 3350. Ooh, La Pro gets dropped down. ROV. They do like this double car strat.
I'll touch on Will Clubs after the action here, Pyra.
Yep. Don't want to get too ahead of it. Looks like Baby actually do manage to find a couple members of AROV. 90 getting La Pro as well. This is going to be pretty big for Baby. Remember, they had a bad opening round. They need all the points they can get right now. And they picking up AROV is huge because that was the winner of our first round with 3 members still remaining. So actually finding what has been a clutch competitor so far early in this game. We're down to 52 players at 6 minutes. And yeah, this is definitely more action than we're used to seeing in Southeast Asia, but that is because it is the final set of games. Teams have to try and go more aggressive. Meta be damned.
Meta be damned. Speaking of Will Clubs real quickly, the reason why I think they're going to be up for elimination is because if you look at all the teams that are below them, it's AROV and then all the Thai teams. So if the next team that can be eliminated is going to be Will Clubs, that's the score that teams should be striving for today to try and take, because that's a free spot. And when I say free spot, meaning that they're not competing against other people in this group for the spot anymore. They're competing against Will Clubs, which can be taken.
Yep. Taken as easily. And of course, we've already seen Gao drop out. That was the major shift in round 1, and it was the one that we're mathematically guaranteed to have. I actually thought and it kind of expected Fate to be leapfrogging them by a lot more. So that spot is definitely not safe. Fate only 5 points ahead of Gao team because they picked up an extremely minimum 15.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. They
literally
just
died, loaded in and died.
They loaded in and died second team to fall, or third team to fall, get them 15 points. So not much at all, unfortunately, for Fate.
Yeah.
They'll be looking for a better performance at least, and I think they'll be able to deliver one throughout today. And they're one of the more established Southeast Asian teams, Southeast Asian general teams, I should see.
The only one representing Singapore as well, so there's kind of a lot of regional pride on the line for them. Of course, being the second best representative from Southeast Asia General isn't too shabby, all things considered. They're definitely the other breakout team outside of AROV, who, as said, are eliminated from this round. But they're probably the only SEA General team that are safe, that are very safe, because they're in 7th place.
I mean, they can't rest on their laurels, but they can be knocked out, but they're very safe. It would take a very large string of unfortunate events in order for them to be knocked out.
Speaking of unfortunate events, it looks like Ezio is going to lose a member or two. Now, we will check in on Nara, because I feel like this, if there is a dark horse for making it into the finals, for making it into one of those final spots, 13th through 15th place, I feel like it is Nara, because up until yesterday, I had very little faith. I know you didn't have a whole lot of faith either, but they've been playing out of their minds at the finish line. This is like the runner who he looks like he's just out of shape and he's like sweating everywhere, and then as soon as he sees the finish line, he just guns it. That's what Nara are right now. We'll see if they're able to hang on. 2nd place finish with the med strat, not too bad. I'd like to see them frag out a bit more, play a little smarter than just kind of running down a road, which is basically what happened last time, and they just got caught by one of the teams on the hill. We haven't talked as much about the circle this game. It's actually a very small circle already because it's up in the top right quadrant. Most of it, about 50%, is actually still on water with this next circle that's going to be going through, and so the only major area is going to be observatory.
Just the same as that first circle, but the only reason why I don't think we're going to get as much action as we'd expect, if this was Europe and North America, yeah, we're getting early action.
Game would be like over by now.
We're in Southeast Asia, so teams are just going to stay outside the zone and be like, you know what, let's not go in there and fight.
Let's not go to observatory.
Yeah,
it's a silly place.
Pretty much.
I mean, it is a silly place when you think about it.
True.
Watching Call Me as well. Call Me, one of those teams that, maybe a couple weeks ago we would have had a little bit more hope for them, but I think this is a team that is really on the edge of being able to try and make it in. They are ahead of Nara Esports, who we've just talked about, but Nara are performing better overall. Call Me have been performing kind of at a middling to low level, So not a whole lot of hope for them to do much unless they really start to turn things around. We have seen teams do that, but there hasn't been a lot from Call Me to indicate that that would start changing. You can say the same about Dark Frost, actually further down the standings as well. One of the teams representing Southeast Asia General.
Unfortunately, probably not going to make it in either here today, Pyra.
It might even be impossible at this point.
I think it's improbable in the sense that they have to get a score that we've never seen in an ROS best of 5, and they had a very poor performance in their first maps, which makes it near impossible. The only reason why things aren't technically impossible in ROS games is because the maximum points you can pick up in a single map. I'm going to go tally that very quickly. When you take everything that's normal into consideration, it's going to be 785 points. In one game, you can theoretically get 785 points. Now, that's near impossible. You have to kill every player on the map and get first.
Yeah, so that can't happen in this round anymore.
No,
Yeah.
so...
But even at a more realistic, like let's say like a 4 to 500, you still are looking at only picking up 2,000 to 2,500 points. And even that would not guarantee you a whole lot of safety because other teams will be picking up similar amounts of points. So realistically, for a team like Call Me or, well, not Call Me, for a team like Dark Frost or even AL to really move into that spot, you have to basically kill all of the teams that are just above you, which is most everybody in this game. And yeah, and then take the first spot for like 3 rounds in a row. That's pretty much what you got to do. We're going to watch out WAFF as, well, we were going to watch them as we moved our attention over to Call Me instead. I was going to say WAFF had a really disappointing start. One of the worst you can possibly do. Actually placed in last place and only picked up that 10 points. But they were one of the safer teams from Indonesia. That's not to say that there are any safe teams, but they were the highest ranking one at the moment. So they're still in prime position to try and overtake Fate as long as they perform better than Fate. And they would leapfrog Gao team by basically placing, I think, maybe 7th or 8th in this next round.
If they can. I mean, leapfrogging Gao team is not a thing anymore. Now you got to leapfrog Fate, unfortunately.
Yeah, so they're basically, they're about 105 points back from Fate. Yeah. That's what they need to do. Oh, looks like 90's going to get dropped. Baby having a little bit of trouble, too. Mocker gets his heal on. I believe it's Fnatic that's invaded the house. Yep, Mocker's going to bail out. The Daw actually sees him, trying to get into the next house and make a run for it as the chicken grenade fell short. Fnatic, they're in a safe position, as we said. Don't want to rest on the laurels either, but they haven't shifted pole position at all because out of all the teams actually playing today, they are very much in the lead. The only team anywhere near them is AROV.
They can't really be knocked out. Looking at the points, someone would need to get over 1,000 points to do it. Seems very difficult for multiple teams to get over 1,000 points.
And placement doesn't matter because you're all going into the same best of 5.
Correct.
Best of 6 twice, actually, I should say. Best of 12. That's how math works, folks. Checking in on Nara, though. Looks like Khaleesi, Val, a little bit low. This is the team that needs to make the miracle happen, but they have the best momentum going into this match out of all the teams that do need a lot of points. Hopping into the truck. And they're inside the field of play, too. So we're starting to see some movement. A handful of teams sitting outside doing some late looting.
So right now the teams that are, very easy for them to qualify, WAFF and Fate. Very easy for these two teams to qualify. Fate need over 455 points like they calculated to overtake Will Clubs. And if they do that, WAFF are 100 points behind them. Very easy. Anyone else, you're looking at an additional 200 points for Baby Junior, an additional 300 points coming in for Nara. So it becomes much more difficult for these squads. They have to be first in at least 2 or 3 of the matches today to get anywhere close to that.
Fish, I want to take a slight break from the math to just call your attention to something that we saw on the mini-map a moment ago. There's a team that's just motorboating around the top right corner.
Yep. They'll get into the zone. They'll just survive inside the water for some time.
I just thought that was a little whimsical. I thought for a second it was like somebody just swimming, and then I'm like, wait, no, it's the entire team, and they're moving too fast.
We don't see it too often because we don't see people use the boats very frequently, but It's a good way to get free positional points. You just stay in the water as long as possible. It just means that when it's time to get onto land, it's very difficult. Because most of the time when you're reaching a late play zone, you're running into the sand, you're running onto land, and there's no cover provided when you do that.
Yeah, it's a little difficult. Try and storm up the beach when the final play zone comes in. 42 players left. It looks like a couple members of Dark Frost actually got dropped. Dark Frost having a better round, but that isn't saying a ton right here. Ooh, Pirate Team going to lose one. Looks like it was Delusion that actually found him. And Roger as well. So Pirate Team losing a handful here. This isn't looking so good for them. One of those teams in danger of being knocked down as there is an all-out brawl here behind this giant rock. Delusion just opening fire and having a ball. Jeff Pro even getting a few kills as well. Gets aggressive back up. I believe that's WAFF. This is critical. This is what they needed. They had such a rough round. Trying to pad some kills into their stats is certainly going to help them.
Yeah, they had 10 points in that last round, so anything they can take here for WAFF is going to be critical for them.
I guarantee you they have already more than quadrupled their score.
Pretty much. Haha.
I do love me some math jokes.
Well, look at this. Dark Frost, it's 2 players alive. Samsoy is there.
Here comes number one.
They're about to take a new victim.
Number one decides that's too fortified of a spot. They do
No,
have
they're actually going towards it, so they might take this.
2 trucks. The convoy strategy, trying to move around into a better position. But WAFF, they've positioned well behind this rock to try and make their stand. Dropping off the Kiss to flank.
What? They just got 2 downs from random chicken grenades they've thrown over the top.
Oh my goodness.
Kiss is getting knocked out though by Jeff Pro, who is helping out the WAFF, it seems.
Yep,
Oh, good rocket.
And there's aggressive with
He
the
missed
rocket.
it.
He missed the shot.
You've got to be kidding me. Oh, no.
Well, it looks like WAFF's luck has run out as number one finish off all of them. That was a 2K for Nemesis. And Roll takes Jeff Pro as well. A lot of loot to take there. And we're right into more fights. It looks like Just Team actually going to find the remnants of the players that were involved in that fight.
He had the damn rocket launcher, but for some reason he decides, you know what, I'm just going to miss the perfect shots. That would be enough.
Ugh. Never want to see
all.
that.
Miss them all. Just why not?
All right. So, dust is going to settle. We're down to half of our players. 29 left. Nemesis getting his loot on. Number one have actually taken up residence of this rock. It's a good place. We saw last time around, we saw some, I want to say, interesting play in that area. There was, involving a tuk-tuk driving into the water. That was Gao team, though. This time it's more of a holdout spot.
Please
it's a solid one.
Please no more tuk-tuks into the water, please.
Well, there was a truck that got
Don't need
a little
that.
wet.
We don't need that.
There's Skyzack. So Dark Frost have actually stayed up for a while here.
Don't
Again,
need that.
You're killing me.
Don't need it.
They're not amphibious vehicles, tuk-tuks. But Skyzack stayed up here, so for Dark Frost, this is going to help their placement. But again, it's pretty impossible for Dark Frost to try and qualify here. One of 3 teams that are sub 2,000 points.
Yeah, I don't think they can. I think they're no, I don't. It's not that I don't think. I know they can't qualify anymore, Pyra. It's pretty much done for Dark Frost.
Yep. But kudos to staying in here, to dedicating to the strongest performance they can show. We've got our eyes on Fnatic. Placed decently last time around as well. Let's see what they get done here to try and solidify their lead. For Fnatic, again, it's, really they're almost more or less making sure that they put anybody displacing them out of reach. But it doesn't really matter since they can't get knocked out, or they just about can't get knocked out. It'd be near impossible for that to happen. Oh, hello. Looks like grenade launcher coming through here behind the rock. NF going to start losing members. And Roll comes in, and they get the knockdowns, get the eliminations. Number one actually going to lose a lot of players.
This rock kind of sucks. It's the only place you can really take refuge inside that next zone, and everyone that rocks up just kind of falls right away.
See what you did there.
Haha.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a bit of a death trap. But back to Fnatic. Yeah, for them, I feel like this is more or less a practice round. It's kind of showcasing what they've got for the Grand Finals next week. Practicing. Maybe they'll have a couple strats that they'll try a little differently this time around just because. Not that they'll play suboptimally, but just they don't necessarily need to place highly since they're pretty much guaranteed to be going through.
Here comes Mac. Mac holding on to this spot here. He's got to move when this zone finally collapses, and then we'll get into that big beach brawl that we'll see take place shortly. John Flux is med-stratting for Fnatic, so Fnatic are technically only moving into this zone with 3 players.
Why would you med-strat when you don't need to place high?
Consistency, practice, a lot of things.
Ah, I guess.
Consistency is key.
All right, it's just a scrim. You can't see my air quotes, but they're there, I swear. Dark Frost, 2 members. Fnatic have got sights on him. It's Vorix. Was one of the last members standing of Fnatic last time around. Road to Victory still up in this one. So we have a couple of our lower placed teams actually surviving a lot longer than expected. Into the final 23 players. RTV rarely get that far.
Road to Victory holding out for now. They've got 1 player left though, that's it.
Not even med-stratting.
Nope. He's just trying to fight anyone that's inside this house, and there's quite a few people that are in here.
Now we saw Nara. They're actually not too far around.
He's taking a monster truck. He's going for a run. He's up to see, mate.
Yep, goodbye. Just wants to stay alive. There's Mac as well. Up on the high ground. Nara creeping closer, it looks like. They're waiting. There's 3 members waiting looked like out in the open, and then 1 inside an adjacent house. There are not a lot of compounds still available here. One of the few of them is actually occupied by Dark Frost, and you can see Skyzak doesn't want to give his position away. Up, yep, road to victory. That's the car getting blown up, and good night.
Nice.
So Samsoy picking up an extra 10 points for the team. Now Nar are actually going to go looting through the house here, finding it unoccupied. But they've lasted to 22. Remember, this is a team. They need a miracle. They need a Hail Mary. But if they can keep playing like this, placement is going to be the big gain of points. They've not been playing for frags this series so far.
Placements would be perfect. Let's see if they can get them.
Oh, there's the boat. Roll's heading for it. I'm on a boat.
That doesn't really make sense. He should take that boat back into shore and use it as cover.
Maybe he's going to med-strat on the boat.
Maybe. I actually wouldn't be surprised at this point. Does make you a big target for these teams that are on the mountain, though. You can kind of see out and attack the boats rather easy.
Yeah. Does stand out a little bit. That's very true.
You need to be on the boat to med-strat. Don't think you can med-strat in water. Bye-bye.
Dave Jan gets
Just
taken
killed.
out just on the
good.
edge of the play zone. Mashiro doing a great job playing on this high ground. And now Nara in his sights. You can see Lin getting spotted, immediately runs for cover, and he narrowly gets inside the house before getting downed. Mashiro couldn't quite find the kill shot. Here comes Boyka as well.
He's one tap.
Oh, all he does.
Oh, he got out of the car. He's not in the car anymore. He's to your right. You can see him.
Oh, boy. What a debate. Mashiro not able to find these finishing kills. That's got to be so frustrating here. AROV trying to go for the high placement as well. They need it, and he's going to get spotted. Eliminated.
Easy kill being picked up here. Mashiro's in a really good spot at the moment. Nara all held up inside that compound. Grenades are being rained down towards that area.
Chicken grenade from
Still
above.
a really good throw.
He doesn't have to prime. Oh, he got one down. He doesn't even have to prime it as much. Looks like he's just going to blow up that vehicle. Nutsier's right next to it. Yeah, this is a great spot here. Fnatic are not too far away, though. The Da is going to get caught in the sights, realizes it, a little too late. He's downed.
Easy pick up for Mashiro. Knocks one down, but they need to make their way on towards the beach shortly. The zone's going to start dealing too much damage.
Yeah, this is great for Pirate King right now. Mashiro, a little indecisive. He doesn't want to reveal himself and risk Fnatic opening fire. Is he the last remaining member of Pirate King? It might be.
Could be. So you were right about the med-strat on the boat. That's actually happening.
Oh, boy.
But you still got 3 players by this rock, which seems to be the prime real estate for the final zone.
Yeah.
All they have to do is hold onto this area and be patient. Wait for the vehicles to stream out. Destroy the vehicles first and then tackle the individual targets that'll be out in the open.
And it looks like both teams on the high ground, both Pirate King and Fnatic, are targeting out the Nara members. Another Nara member drops. It's Lin. That should bring Nara down to 2. The Da does get knocked down by Valdo, so there is some return fire happening. And they're still within a safer spot, Nara are, despite the fact that they're taken low. Lion is also here. Hadn't seen him. But another member of Pirate King creeping up behind. Fnatic and CT sees him a little bit too late. Turns around, but it is Lion that gets dropped. So, possibly only Mashiro remaining.
And he might just stay outside the zone now. He might not want to risk it anymore.
Yeah, Khaleesi gets knocked down as well by Anep. So Nara is just kind of cannon fodder, but they are staying in this. Khaleesi's out. There's one more player remaining, and it is Newtseer who gets back on his feet.
Hiding just inside the zone itself. 14 players left.
Forex running for cover. Mashiro is an absolute machine here behind this rock. But he's going to have to move pretty soon. Unfortunately, the way forward is straight through 3 members of Fnatic. Wonder if he has any grenades left or smoke to try and cover. Open sight. Finds Vorax. Chicken absorbs a little bit of damage.
Shiro needs to be careful. The safe zone's restricted now, and he's been trying to stay alive with just bandages.
Oh,
but
CT!
He needs to pick up. He needs to heal more of his hit points before that zone fully collapses, because he'll deal double damage at that point in time.
Fnatic is making his life hard. I don't know if he's going to get it.
He's made a mistake. Mashiro's made a mistake. He reloaded after trying to heal.
Samtoy going to get dropped. Skyzak nearby. This is finally the Dark Frost members going down. One more shot with all he needs, and he can't quite get it behind that. Finally gets that down. The Daw takes a lot of return fire, but doesn't get downed himself. And Newtseer finally dies outside the safe zone, so that's the end of Nara, but they did make it to the final 11 players.
Line
the
him
Daw
up.
is going to get blown to pieces by Gwen here, so Gwen actually kind of hanging tough.
Yeah, all he has to do is line them up, and this is what I mean. Just sit tight, wait for them to come to you. Vorax the next target.
Oh boy, this is some free real estate right now. War of Elite actually coming in and cleaning house. And they're not even a team we really talked about as possibly making it through because they are so far behind. But they've been picking up tons of kills. They got 130 points last round, and they're in prime position to pick up a lot more.
Over 8 frags in this match, and they're going to take that #1 spot. I mean, they've got someone med-stratting, and everyone else that is remaining are med-stratting themselves.
Yep.
Just waiting for that. There's 7 players alive. No, 6, so two players. John Flux is one of them. I wasn't able to get a look at and see who the second med-stratter was besides the Fnatic member. Nico from Fate. So Fate actually going to pick up a med-strat victory here. You know, but they only need 455 points. So
I mean, this makes perfect sense. They
2.5 med-strats do it.
They probably planned this well before they lost any members because Fate, considering how poor their last round was, getting completely out of the circle of play as far away as possible. That's all the way over in Wheattown. So Fate should place pretty highly here. But great job from War of Elite to actually pick up a first place finish in this, because that's the kind of thing you absolutely need. Any of the teams that are in 20th to 22nd place, you've got to be able to at least win one round.
This is the difference between some of the med-stranding teams as well. You look at John Flux, he's just using the med kit, so he's healing up to 100 hit points. Whereas Nico knows that. He doesn't have to do that now. Look at that. He's using bandages and lots of energy drinks in between his healing. So heal up now, and then he'll use a bandage or an energy drink like that, and that will keep him topped up even healthier than what John Flux can achieve with just the med kits over time. These should be first aids that he's using, getting him up to 80-90% hit points.
All right, so looks like we'll be seeing Fate place a little bit higher than Fnatic. And it's all an endurance test here, Fish. But all the same, this is one of our faster rounds as far as Southeast Asia is concerned. We're at 28 minutes and some change. Usually ends at about 30 or just shy of it.
Just depends which med-strata it's going to fall first, that's all. Fnatic do it quite frequently, but Fate are the team that have done it more religiously. So I give them the upper hand here, and they have been med-stratting fairly well.
So War of Elite have a med. They're the ones with the med-stratter on the boat, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So there are only 2 other teams remaining.
John Flux here, and Nico from Fate.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see how it all shakes out. But as expected, we should see Gen Flux probably falling down first. And this is the most anticlimactic.
This is some high-octane gameplay right here. This is what we live for!
Player versus environment.
Oh no, Nico's run out of meds!
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh no, Fnatic still have another or 2, so Nico is actually going to fall to 3rd.
All right, so Fate actually going
angry.
to end up in 3rd place. Fnatic will end in 2nd.
Funny though is that War of Elite's med strata did die outside the play zone.
I mean, they didn't need to keep him up.
There we go. By 3 or 4 meds, John Flux wins the med strat race. Even though I gave it to Nico, even though I gave it to him, unfortunately their timings were a little bit off.
Yeah, okay, so the game ends at 24.5 minutes, and that'll shake things up just a little bit here. As the game ends, I think critically looking at it, Ezio in 4th place. It's certainly going to help that Thai team to actually kind of stay alive a little longer. Nara placed 5th, which is lower than it looked like they were going to get, but they did get hunted down after that. Still, they're alive in this one. Low on the frags. Nutsier only gets 2. The lion's share of the kills actually going up towards the top side. You could see how many War of Elite actually pulled in. That is 10 frags.